Well, another great quarter-final awaits, and who better to play it than the home team themselves, the one you've all been waiting for. It's Navi going against SK. SK has been struggling as of late. Navi hasn't looked amazing in this event either.
They haven't, but SK did get the 3-0, you know, so that was a showstopper, really, actually. The fact that they've looked so poor this year, Stewie just really not finding his kind of groove within the team, and it was even reported at this event, he was calling on Mirage. Now, that's going to be a bit of a nightmare. Let's just talk about that for a second. We've got some time to kill, I believe. So the fact that Stewie's coming to this team wanting an amazing in-game leader, fallen renowned as the world's best, you come into it, and now you're calling for a team that don't ever communicate in English, and then you're the one at the helm of it. That seems like an absolute nightmare. But they have made it to 3-0, and they're up against Navi, who are up and down, mainly up in 2018, I'll say that much, but this tournament looking quite flat, I would say. But
I'll say it could go as far for Stewie to implement maybe some different theory on that map and bringing in some Cloud9 tactics or something along those lines, but that should be done at practice, not live. That's me being optimistic as to what the situation is.
Because if he's truly who doesn't play to these guys before, he should just be told what to do.
Yep, agreed. And for all the reasons you said as well, he came into this team looking for leadership. So it's peculiar, and it's a little bit upsetting in some ways, because SK is such a renowned team. It's almost you want to see the best from them. They've brought so much to Counter-Strike, but we're going to bring them to this stage. Of course, Navi is who they go against, so I think the fans will be rather one-sided in this.
They might be. Not as full as it would be, but hopefully we kind of get everyone pouring back in. Obviously, everyone's been waiting for this moment, but Matt, it's time to introduce the teams. Let's have a look what they've got to bring to the table.
Fantastic looking hallways for the walk-on, and rightfully so, bring SK on first. Get that out of the way.
Oh, they get a nice response still. Not as quiet as I thought. It's not the library.
Fallen's already keen. Wants to get to the booth and get things underway. And
he's not sticking around for anything.
Has been the overall in-game leader. No, he's not. He's keen. He's ready to get stuck in. Stewie, the man that will walk in behind them. The latest edition. They're the only team that has 5 major winners on the roster, but they didn't win that collectively, keep in mind.
That's true. Obviously, Stewie from the most recent major, it's kind of bizarre to think that he's now on a different team, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Now we're into SK. It was still rebuilding, but this is the most promising event they've had so far.
Of course, their opposition, the fans, I expect, will be a little bit louder. They might not be the ninjas, but they're cozy in pajama pants either way. Zeus leads them once again after reporting getting his major title. He's come back over. It's been a bit of a struggle, but they're getting there slowly.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing some of the key names turn up in this tournament. There he is, the man himself, Simple, right in the middle, the hometown hero, as they are welcome to a wonderful response here in the arena. The loyal fans sticking here. It's getting up to midnight, but they're still ready and hyped for this particular matchup. 2 very big organizations clashing here. I predict all 3 maps to be a great game and a real test for both.
Well, a test they'll hope to pass and welcome, no doubt, in the spirit of competition, formidable opponents on the other side of the stage. We've got all the staff up there for Navi, and a pre-game handshake, just in good faith to show off. No matter what happens in the server, there's great respect between these 2 teams.
Yeah, so much pedigree on the server right now. So many legends from way back in 1.6 right up until now. It takes an absolute master of Counter-Strike to survive those many years at the very top. And we'll see who comes out and makes their way towards the semi-final here in this best of 3. It's going to be a long one, and fatigue might start setting in, but they're still fired up. They're ready to go. And we'll have the veto, I'm sure, in a moment. We obviously have no idea what's going on.
That's correct. We're gonna get that out of the way on this section.
And before we get there, though, do you feel like SK is still the favorites, considering they would be historically?
I don't know. I mean, to be fair, my absence was during the time that Stewie was brought in.
When they were looking poor, I'll tell you that much.
Exactly, and that was rather evident by the results posted online and in that time. So I don't know what I favor. I mean, it's always tough to play against Navi in the Ukraine. It always has been. They've always done well in this tournament traditionally. They were runner-ups last time around. They've won it, I think, of all the tournaments here since 2014, they've probably won 4 or 5. In fact, for a long period of time, they'd never won an event outside of the Ukraine. That didn't come until much later on in their life as a team. So I don't know. I kind of still want to lean toward Navi in this, given all of those circumstances, given the recent form of SK. But there's always hope, and Cold Zero versus Simple is exciting as ever.
Oh, yeah, and Cold Zero has had enough. I've been hanging out with Stewie a lot this event, and he said Cold Zero is ready for this one. He wants to prove to the world he is still one of the world's best. And this game will show us whether he's ready for that particular responsibility. It'll be nuke removed by SK Gaming. That is pretty par for the course. I'd imagine it's cash for Navi, and indeed it is. I assume Inferno is going to come into this one, presumably picked by Navi. That's their favorite map right now. SK probably won't pick that, but we'll see as the veto continues here. It will be SK to pick first, from what I can see. We'll have a look as to whether... We'll probably see Mirage. We'll probably see Inferno. There's Inferno, actually picked by SK. I'm surprised at that. This is an okay map for them. It's not their best. I guess I'm looking back over more of the overall picture for SK in general. Maybe they feel more comfortable in this map now with Stewie in there. So they'll pick up Inferno. Navi to pick Overpass. Always been a great map for them, but same story for SK. This is looking quite an interesting veto so far. Both these teams will be happy with the results. And Dust 2 is removed by SK Gaming. Still a new map in the pool. They've got to focus on the main map's first map before trying to work on that one, I guess. So they'll be getting rid of that one. As we get further in, it will be Train remaining, of course, but not anymore. Navi will remove that. And it's a pretty standard veto. No wild cards thrown in there, really. Inferno, Overpass, Mirage, both teams very well versed. Mirage, from what I've seen from Navi so far, has looked pretty poor, especially against Mouse Sports early in the tournament. They couldn't really get going on that one. I would say they need to close it out on 2. They certainly can do with the veto they've got. Inferno, I would say it's their absolute best map. They can beat a lot of teams on this one, and especially if they get a CT style with Simple going off with that AWP. So they're just joining the server now. We still have to do the knife round. That is the thing that has to happen. So obviously a little bit more rushed here with this one, so they need to just make sure they're warmed up and get everything set up. But the knife should be starting hopefully in the next 5 minutes or so.
Absolutely, yeah. They'll sit and get their settings taken care of. Obviously, they would have already done a little bit of that with the SSDs.
SSDs, they can just slide those right in, right? So that all the settings are good to go. We're just hoping that no technical issues. We did have to have a PC swapped out in the NIP game, so hopefully all the gremlins in the system have been removed at this point. We've got 5 players for SK on the server, and now Navi. I think I do give Navi the edge with the veto I've seen so far. If we had seen a Dust 2 thrown in there just to kind of hype things up and maybe give SK a little bit of a wild card factor, but I feel like Navi will be comfortable with this. But still, anyone's game, I would say that. I'd give them a very slight edge. I think 3 maps is almost certainly going to be happening here. I'm interested to see where this knife will go, whoever gets the CT start, and it will certainly set the tone for the rest of the series. And everyone's on the server. That is some good news. We've got 10 players ready to go.
Well, 10 players ready to go again. Knife for the side. It's not as some events do where you essentially pick your map and your opposition picks the side. You can still actually win it out. Still an important skill.
Oh, yes.
Carving people up with the butcher knife. So we'll get that out of the way now, the formality, and get this series underway. I do like this veto, I think, all the way through. I think there's a lot of history for these 2 teams on all 3 maps. I think it'll be interesting to see how it goes when we get to Mirage for SK, nonetheless. But Overpass in the middle of that is a map that they were extremely, extremely good on for a long period of time. No Train, another map you might expect from both these teams, but here we go. You're good at these knife round casts, Henry.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, SK make their way down. It's actually quite important just to kind of give you a slight kind of morale boost winning the knife round, especially on a map like Inferno. It's up there with the likes of Train and Nuke, but maybe 3rd in that list as Stewie will open things up. Let's get it over with, boys. We've got a long game ahead of us as we'll see the kills coming in. It should be, well, it's 50-50 at this point. There it is, Electronic to win it. Oh, you can see what that means to the crowd. They will be starting CT first at Inferno.
Well, something to cheer about early. And I imagine there'll be quite a few cheers. They'll get back into their team ritual. 7 in the booth for Navi.
So, a chance for Zeus to rally the troops, rile them up, get them hungry for this game. It's going to be a difficult one. SK looking better in 2018 with this tournament. 3-0 in the group stages. People didn't think that was possible. Stewie showing some good form. It's not a perfect unit so far, but this game still excites me. It will indeed be the T-side style for SK. Can confirm that now. They have swapped over. There's Kane, the coach, bit of a naughty boy this event. Had to be removed earlier on in the tournament for a bit of chit-chat going on. I'm sure he's learned his lesson now.
Well, it was good to see action taken in that regard.
Especially against Navi as well, you know, right? People say they get a bit of a bias in this arena, but it goes to show that they certainly don't. They don't get a pass. And it will be...
By the way, I did note 7 in the booth. That was only just to get the cheer out of the way. Their manager often likes to be in there, but now it is down to your standard formation, your 5 players, your coach, the admin, the one on the right.
And we are underway. This is faster than I anticipated. Good turnaround. It will be a CT start for Navi with the 4 sets of armor. I can see an upgraded pistol there for coldzera. He hasn't purchased armor, he's bought that himself. This would be quite technical. I've got Molotovs, 3 flashbangs, an HE, and a smoke. I would say this bodes well for a B rush, just with that HE grade, 2 of them now. I would say it's almost certainly going to be rush, Matt. So we'll see if that comes through. Might be some variations of the strats, we'll see. That's what the current meta has done so far. So 2 players go quickly. They do throw their grenades towards B, but maybe that's all a ruse, just to suggest we want to rush at the start, but Simple doesn't get touched at all, and he'll be at the barrels.
Furry goes up to the top of middle. Flamey makes contact. Slight damage into Cold as a result, but this will still be an approach onto the A site. They'll wrap around from quad, and out they go from the apartments. Bolt starts it off in style. 2 kills for SK. Flamey down by Fallen as he finally responded to the first 2. It's the advantage and the bomb planted. Edward's going to rotate toward the apartments directly, and that'll buy a little bit of time for Simple, who's not going to take the chance of letting Edward get in position. He just wants to fight. My God, Simple's a good fighter at that. He'll go back inside of the site. First one removed. No angle from Fallen to be gained. Overlooks the fact that Cold's in the corner, and Cold versus Simple round 1 goes to Cold.
Tantalizing battle there. Simple seemed to be aware, but couldn't get the pre-fire in. It's a stunning shot on the retape. It wasn't quite enough. That's quite smart from SK, though. Like I said, those 2 HEs, whenever you see those purges, suggest a B rush is almost certainly going to come through. They do throw the grenades at the top. They don't damage Simple, though. They go for the standard A execution, the 1 smoke towards library, flash round. coldzera starts hitting those shots with the P250, and it all crumbles for Navi. So a nice 1-0 start for the Brazilian, now North American squad. As we get into round number 2, there'll be the scout for Simple. This round is certainly not going to be clean cut for SK with the Deagles and CZs out. Simple on the sniper. We'll see whether he can find the first pick. It'll be towards top of mid so far, but it's flaming towards Banana. That takes down Stewie. 5 versus 4. Can't recover the weapon. That was right down at the T steps.
Fallen, just a quick shoulder check to see who's inside of Banana. Need to recover the deficit. They'll slowly work toward the top side of mid. 3 players there on the defense from Navi. One of them is Simple. He goes wide. Hits Fallen, actually. Catches him in the leg, excuse me. As it puts him down to 39. They'll still continue up with a further smoke down, though. That certainly makes things awkward. No sense rushing through that when you know there's guns waiting on the other side. And even if they're pistols, that's a crossfire you don't want in a gray screen. Maybe stepping out, the man who started off the fragging so far, the only one of the round to get a kill with 50 seconds. This starts to put pressure on SK. Need to work this out. Start to push Flamey back. He's realizing that they're getting further and further up Banana, and they want that territory with or without him there, so he'll call for a little bit of support. Flamey will be the one to arrive in doing so, and Simple waits at spawn because they're still unsure if they are going to continue in that direction. So SK showing their face, showing their hand, and showing that they want to push him back are actually going to use that to their advantage and read exactly what I just told you, and that they would have likely called for the rotation, but they have to be careful for the fact that Electronic is inside of the pit, and he's not peeking. Good Molotov. That's going to force him to do so. Down to 39, he still manages to catch out. He's done better than that. Down goes Bolts. Terrific job. They're going to try and plant it. Zeus goes into the smoke. He tries desperate to get the knife. I suppose no harm, no foul. He stays alive and backs away, and they've got the man advantage still. AK for Cold. He'll play on the steps at Graveyard. Tough position if he's sorted and spotted early on, because keep in mind, we already saw it to his right side. There's a Deagle that was looking his direction. Edwards been found. Cold still has a bit to work with. Flamey's still trying to work his way in. He's gone to the scout instead, and Cold's doing all the peeking. Fallen wants to play off of this. From in pit, he can see the bomb, and he doesn't have the weaponry, but he wants to play the time. Should it get that far? Cold won't allow it. Ace, by the way, for Cold.
Yeah, well, I did mention he said he was going to step up this game, give us one of those monumental performances. So far, so good. Steers the ship in the right direction there, and Ace, after losing the first 2 picks, he planted with 5 seconds on the clock there as well. I'm not sure if Zeus had any bullets in his CZ when he was going for the knife. I assume he did not. It would have at least be worth a spam there. Went for the knife, didn't work out for him. If he hits that knife, they win the round. So you can see why he went for it, but then Coldzera punishes them all single-handedly, finds every single kill. Flamey couldn't do much with the scout in his hand. And we go to the next round, number 3, full eco now for Na'Vi. First kill comes in, $600 in the bag for Fur, and it will be a pretty much lock-in for 3-0 map, but you never know.
For wraps toward the library. Zeus, Flash will go back out. USP desperate to try and get a headshot, couldn't do so. Simple can! He's got that headshot lineup in the stairwell. You might get a tantalizing prospect of him hitting more. Certainly something you could fantasize about fathomably. It's going to be now 3-0 for SK. They'll solve that problem, and now we get into the gun rounds. Pause from Flamey. It's going to be a tech. I was going to say a bit early to go for a tactical. I understand it's the first gun round, but nothing to worry about over yet.
Well, here we go.
TeamSpeak is the issue.
Yeah, I guess like we said coming into this one, we kind of rushed them in. There wasn't a massive amount of time to make sure everything was working. I assume it's just the coach maybe can't communicate effectively. That's normally the issue. I have to say, it's normally Edward that has TeamSpeak issues. I don't know what kind of setup he's got going on there, but every Na'Vi game I've casted, Edward has TeamSpeak issues.
Some bind, maybe? I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on that. It could be anything. Could be running a headset that has a sound card external.
Possibly, yeah.
Something
it is
like
always
that.
him. I'm not exaggerating. It's him every single time. So we'll look down there, and it looks like something's been replaced. It looks like they are kind of fiddling around with connectors, maybe cutting out the bypass on the desk or something, go directly into the PC now. But hopefully underway momentarily as the SK boys. A few of them not wearing jerseys. Take from that what you will. As we get into the next round, Coldzera wants to make a mark today. Show he is still considered one of the world's best. He's had some disappointing tournaments, the whole team has, of course, but they are still rebuilding. We'll give them some time. Having a look on the server logs, nothing really being said right now.
So headsets back on for Kane as well. Kane part of the transfer, part of the deal both ways, if you will, to get Zeus back to Na'Vi, but also part of the reason he left Gambit to begin with.
Indeed. Well, hopefully we're underway. I'm having a look at the chat, not much being said. So might be something having to be replaced, I'm not sure. Round 4, first gun round, of course. I can at least have a look at the buy. Obviously Na'Vi trading 0-3. We're gonna have a couple of, well, 3 AKs now for SK. Fur with the Mac 10. Stewie yet to buy. He did go down in the previous round. He currently has, well, he's gonna have to be dropped a weapon. He's only got 2K after buying the armor and utility. Headsets have come off. So now I have no information for you. We're just gonna be waiting at this point to see what happens.
So obviously the problem is a little deeper. Admins are in the booth working on it, trying to solve the issue. Not a whole lot of chatter going on in either way. It looked like some jovial, nonchalant discussion in Navi's camp, but I imagine the admins will have an ear on that. They've waited long enough for this game to get underway. I can't imagine them not wanting, or imagine them leaving over a small technical at this point.
So they've said Na'Vi are without a coach right now on comms, so that's the issue. And
interesting.
Go on.
Well, just that they're working on Edward's PC. I'm wondering if the other PC's in that area or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's what they've said at least, and Stewie's confirmed. They will wait.
I would have thought the PC would be in the back, but anyway. Young Electronic on your big screen. Stage looks good, I have to say.
It looks really good. That screen lowers down before the walkouts happen. Quite well, it raises up, I should say. It can lower down. And hopefully we'll be underway momentarily as the man himself had some phenomenal years in CS. This one will be a little bit more turbulent, but we'll see if they can make mincemeat of a Navi. 3-0 start. They've got a bit of a bonus round with the Mac 10s coming in. Headsets are back on. That is promising.
It's a good sign. Well, the headsets might be back on, but in case you were wondering, Henry, they're playing on NVIDIA graphics cards.
They are playing on NVIDIA graphics cards in the arena and at home. The only graphics card option. And the simulation quite possibly could be powering the whole thing.
Oh, no, it is.
Edwards is looking to get a new headset out. I think that's what it looks like. He's unboxing, maybe. So if you're just joining us, let's get you
We'll turn this into an unboxing video.
Exactly. So if you're just joining us, it is the fourth and final quarterfinal of the day. It's the first map, best of 3, Inferno to kick things off. It's round number 4, and SK are currently up 3-0.
Yep. Sorry, cut into you a little early there. It's Overpass Mirage.
Yes, very standard map pool for these two teams. They'll all be very comfortable. No wild cards thrown in there. They've all got very standard vetoes. SK always vetoes Nuke. Navi always vetoes Cash. And at that point, you're going to pick your more favored maps, I guess. Especially in this sort of match, it'll be quite equal. And no real apparent underdog, I would say, in the current form. So there's Stu. Looking quite relaxed, I would say. Trying to find his place in this team. Hasn't found it yet, but as I said, time goes on. Better results starting to come in. This is the quarterfinal. They'd be disappointed crashing out here, but there was a nice entrance to it. Obviously, best of 3 Swiss format is quite challenging and grueling, but they made it here without really dropping much at all. So, yeah, it's going to be lying in wait. I'm going to check the serve logs again, man. Not really much else I can do here. Nothing at all reported. And I'm trying to look on the screen. Maybe if I turn around, we can see more. Headset's still off for Edward, and they're all just kind of chatting. At this point, there's not really much of a tactical advantage just to chat, you know, like once you've given away a minute, it's just a drop in the ocean at that point. But there we go. SK on the T side, finding that 3-0, obviously very important. The fact that they can be on the least favored side and have this bonus round to kick things off. Mac 10 for Fur. There will be a few players without helmets with the force buy in the second round. I don't think they can buy the AWP. I'll check that now. Flamey could drop it, but that's not going to happen. That means he gets no armor and nothing else, no utility, maybe dropped an M4. So I really much, or very much doubt we'll see the AWP come out as we get into the next round, hopefully in the next few minutes. Got anything you'd like to discuss or chat about?
No, I just wish Wiccan's tires were better when he was on the Reds.
Okay.
That kind of ruined his strategy.
Anything but that, apparently, actually. Anything to do with the game would be fine.
No, that was the answer.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I mean, there's not much we can get into yet until we see the first gun round.
Indeed. I'm going to...
Op battle will be interesting as well in this. To get Fallen going consistently, but Simple's more, I guess, audacious with the op on the T side. If we... Well, when we get, I say if we get that far. We'll get that far, it just might take a while at this point.
It might do. SK Gaming, I can see fist bumps coming in. We might be good to go. Ready? Yes, we are. There we go. Thank you for bearing with us. And hopefully that's the last technical issue. It's coming out to midnight here. So 3 maps come in. This could be a real test of human endurance. We'll see what happens. There's Electronic and Simple, the power at the end of the table. Cold Zera in the middle.
It is thinning out. That's us in the back. I'm waving to you in the middle. Everyone's waving back. We're all having a good time. And we're going to get underway. 11 seconds to the start of the round. The buy is on the board. There'll be a Mac 10 carried over by Fur. Everyone else on rifles of their respective breed. A silencer for Edward, the rest are not so. And Edward is playing toward A. So although there's more smokes at B, oftentimes B gets rushed because there's really one entrance to the site. You need that extra ammunition as it is. I prefer the A4 over there. Split approach from SK to the apartments early on, but meanwhile in Banana, it's simple to take control, and he's done massive amounts of damage, more so to Cold as well. He's taken down the kill on Stu immediately. Cold responds, though, with 6 HP, as Edward was the one to go hunting in that situation.
Aggressive round. Slight advantage, I guess, towards Navi. Sure, it's a 4-on-4, but look at the HP of Cold. Zera looking for their first round on the board here. First, still with the MAC-10. I guess there was probably a rifle available to him. We'll see what could happen here in terms of the initial grenade usage. Still with the majority of their smokes, Navi. You can see they've still got 4 of them, so that bodes very well considering it's less than a minute. They can hold off the terrorists as long as possible. Flamey and Simple at the B side, Zeus and Electronic patrolling A. Zeus more aggressive towards quad.
Fur will go back in behind the barrels. Flamey, meanwhile, will sneak inside of the site. As they sit 4-on-4, that early damage from Simple and kill as well. You would have thought they could have been content with that, but never challenge Cold. I don't care how much HP he's got. I won't want to take that fight any day. He goes on 6, but survives. And Bolts is trying to hold them on the A side. Electronic will get that kill, but it's irrelevant to the fact that they're going into B. Aside gives them a little more in rotation, a rotation that may not be required. Cold again still survives on that low HP, and with Fallen, they'll easily collect 2 more kills. Now the rotation does become a factor. Cold's going to go aggressive with 6 HP, and aid toward Ruins might catch him out, but it's going to be a 1-1 retake. 1 in Banana, that is, and 1 coming from CT. Electronic to confront Cold first, and that corner's predictable, but they're actually going to go through, and Cold can hear them, so he wants to slip out behind. All Fallen has to do is buy time, buy space, a little bit of damage. Do they recognize that Cold's behind, but missed too many shots too soon? And I think they're going to have this. 10 seconds, and the time is available.
Looks like it's fine. You can see the blue bar beating the red. The defuse comes in. First round for Navi, but it did cost them 4 players. Electronic will take the AK into the next round, but still plenty of cash here for SK. They bring out the AWP for the first time in the hands of Fallen. Huge reset potential here, and still going to be a bare bones buy from Navi. They'll have the orb themselves. That's dropped. Simple will take that, and this is where this game gets really exciting now. But look at the rest of the players in the squad, MP9s, UMPs. They do have 1 kit, and here comes the first bit of excitement. So much skill on this server. Simple versus Fallen, but Fallen misses the first shot. Edward sprays him down there with the MP9, an audacious move through the smoke and the flames. Certainly worth it in that respect. MP9 takes out the AWP, and now Cold Zera, no stranger to that weapon, will pick it up.
Fur, meanwhile, still sits in the apartments. Cold came so close on that 6 HP to stealing back the first gun round, but with Navi having claimed that, there's still a chance SK can set back the finances. 8 bounces, that'll go in behind the sandbags. No one there. Simple still waits. AWP. Guardian left. A bad blood between the two, arguably. Simple kind of crowding his role, Guardian's role, but Guardian left. I was a little skeptical of getting Simple off the AK frequently because he's so good on both guns, but he's absolutely shown that it's effective. I would say he's the hot candidate so far for the MVP of this year. So Stu and Fur to lead the way toward B. Smoke down, Zeus boosted close. Flamey will, I thought he was going to go. I thought he was going to commit incendiary inside of the smoke, wants them to run through it, and then onto it. Damage to aid in the fact that Zeus was above. They get a kill, they'll fall off. They're content in doing so. They've got the advantage. And a Molotov that fails, bounces off the top of coffins. That's going to leave a gap. That actually allows for Flamey to re-peak that position, and they have to be fully aware of it because Flamey could easily shut it all down. Good find from Cold, but bomb is down. 5 seconds. They just barely get back onto it, but Simple's recognized that fact and gets the lineup perfect.
Well, there it is. The round falls apart. The bomb attempted to plant. Flamey waits. And he finds him the opportunity. Simple certainly capitalize upon it. Navi have come to life now. 3-2. There is, by the looks of things, one more buy available. Won't be fantastic. SK have already purchased up the AK-47. Well, that was safe in the previous round, I beg your pardon. So Bolts did survive, but the round did not. Those scores, I assure you, are nothing to do with this game. That is the previous roll. We'll get that off your screen. There we go. It's a tactical pause now.
It's just pre-scouting for the matchup tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of get it ready. But there will be a force by the saved AK. Bolts will have that. A Galil brought out for Stu and pistols, and this T side starts to go south. Navi not quite stable yet. Still with the reinvestment down to 0. There will be an orb down for Simple, I'm sure of it, as he probably had to drop a weapon. There we go. Picks it up, and he probably knows he can afford to be a little bit more aggressive here.
So Simple goes back out with the AWP. You're right. Can afford to be aggressive, wants to be aggressive. He'll do exactly that. The man does what he wants. Henry. He'll get fur. He shall receive. Goes down into mid in doing so. And he's ready for more. Tries to fire in. They both don't stumble over each other, so he fires in between them. But Electronic's the one to step out. Zeus is going to be baited, and it's going to be successful. They're already not considering this. I say it's going to be successful, but when he goes early and gives Fallen a chance, does give them a kill, yields to death that direction, and it is still 1 versus 4, but it's economic standpoint long term if you really want to get into the minute details of that kill, because they still keep 4 alive and we go 3-3.
There it is, the force buy for SK. It really doesn't do much for them at all. Fallen left in an impossible situation. Doesn't look quite as sharp as usual. 3-3 should be the eco at this point. SK can bring nothing more than 4 Deagles. Fur hasn't purchased anything yet. I'm surprised by that. Normally one of the more aggressive purchases of SK, who stays on the Glock. So there we go. As we get into round number 7 here, Navi right back in this after losing the pistol. There was a ton of money for SK, but not much left now. They'll be on 4 state loss bonus after this round. Still can win it. There were some fantastic pistol players in this squad. Watch out for Stewie. That particular weapon. Using the smoke to assert that dominance that be here.
Stu just looking with the Deagle, but Simple waiting with the AWP. No real chance in it. I shouldn't say no chance, but come on, it is Simple on an AWP. What odd do you give him? Middable nonetheless, don't get me wrong. Good shot for the MP9. Zeus able to pick apart Fur with no armor. Looking relaxed now, Navi. Gets found next. Just going through the motions at this point to find their 4th round before SK brings guns out, and Zeus collects his 3rd of the round. Stat padding, but money building no less.
Yeah, and for a player like Zeus as well, it's good for him to find those frags, just get himself inside the game. Obviously not the strongest fragger within Navi, just get some money going for himself, and he'll stay on the MP9. That's absolutely fine for a map like Inferno, and Navi have taken the lead at this point. 4-3 now. SK back on the rivals, no war for Fallen. Coldzera still at the tippity top with 11 kills and 4 deaths. We'll see if he can sink his teeth in a little bit further to his prey. Round 8. It's been quite a fast first half, I would say. Fallen, given the responsibility of patrolling towards B. And that's much better by him. Takes down Flamey. Nice execution, but the nades will come towards him. Electronic looking for 2 kills here. It's actually Simple to pick up the follow-up. Really well played. Great coordination there from the CC forces.
Well, look at this position as well from Edward. That smoke left just enough of a gap, and that you would never consider. You might behind the bags, not in front of it. Look at Edward go. Banana. It's tasty. 5-3. SK struggling to find rounds and struggling to find money in doing so.
Well, even after Fallen opened it up, it all came crashing down in the apartment area. Electronic laid the trap. And SK walked right into it. Simple, the AWP in the apartments. You won't see many AWPers that deep there. It's Simple, and he's making a mark on the server. Fallen might have to consider his options here. Does he buy up the AWP and try and go toe-to-toe? He won't be this round at least, even with the maximum loss bonus. 5 rounds against them. It'll only be $3,400 per player. They haven't planted in the last 3 rounds. So, well, 4 rounds, actually. So they'll have to take a partial buy here. as Navi extend their lead. I'll have a look at the frag shots overall. Simple with 10. Great to see him. It's great to see those names at the top. Simple at the top of Navi.
Sure.
coldzera at the top of SK. And it does maybe set us up something quite sensational here.
Yeah, that's when we get our best Counter-Strike. When those guys are on, look, they're unbelievable talents. They're world-class in every way, and that, if you're a viewer or spectator, is exciting. So buckle up, because Simple again has the AWP. Edward, who did a phenomenal job holding off inside of Banana last round, will do the same. Bit of help in doing so, in the fact that, first off, there's not a lot against him, but there's a smoke and an incendiary chucked out early by his teammate as well. That teammate, of course, is Flamey. They have armor for SK. If you have to look on the bright side, consider detail. If they're able to pick up weapons after kills, having armor to go with those weapons is beneficial, and if they can get a bomb down on top of it, there's a chance to steal around. Absolutely, we know that in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, but those are the conditions that often allow it. That tag was definitely audible for Flamey, so he'll know Fur was at the top of mid.
Inferno as well. SK Gaming with CZs on the T side. There's been many a tournament they've done this before. Flamey, though, will be challenged first, and he'll drop. He's got the information they forced, well, partially bought with the CZs. Maybe a little bit too aggressive there to be by himself, no trade potential.
And they'll know that there's armor with it as well, because Flamey was dinked. Or excuse me, that Fallen was dinked, which would have been heard as a bit of information.
Problem is they don't recover the rifle from Flamey, so they can't really capitalize on that pick too much. Sure, they'll have power in numbers, but still, Zeus will drop, and Electronic certainly will not. Oh my goodness, amazing work by him with the AK. That's why he's brought into this team. That potential has just been realized, but coldzera now given a chance in the 2 versus 1.
One of the first minors, as Simple closes it out, was when Electronic showed himself to be an absolute talent on a much lower tier team, and it was only going to be a matter of time before he made it into Navi. Seized, arguably, if you want to go back in Lineage, position that he filled. Guardian and Simple swapping duties at times. Good play, good hold this 4th one.
Yeah, that really secured him. 2 versus 2, that was still possible, but 2 versus 1, Electronic did a fantastic job there of holding them off. That was so high pressure and displayed so much high skill. Very well done. 6-3, 6 in a row for Navi. Didn't expect this from them. SK, after winning the pistol, can't break down the defense just yet, but Fallen's got the AWP out once more. Simple hasn't really missed a beat so far. Can he be toppled? T4 set up for now, as it will be Stewie to probe towards B.
So a 3-man setup on that side of the map, and they're going to go with it. Simple with the AWP, but they're not letting him anchor. And not doing so. It's Edward again that gets caught out, not the first time when they've gone aggressive. For the most part, he's played fantastic in that position, but I think back to early on in the gun round, that
what?
Molotov, he gets away from it. Simple misses an uncharacteristic shot. Did it do any damage? Did he get away before it spread? Surely he must have. As Simple, with a gamble, tries to go for a jumping deagle, and that might be a step too far, I'm afraid, because now they've opened up B wide to SK's arrival.
Yeah, a bit greedy there, I'm afraid. Simple didn't have to do that whatsoever. Sure, he lost the first pick, but you don't have to start trying to jumping deagle people. That's a bit of a far cry from what should have been displayed. But either way, it will be a 5 versus 2 and the round's over. SK will take that one. Didn't really need much strategic prowess there, Matt, I'll be honest. But still, Stewie will take those advantages where he gets them. He got the opening pick. That was great work. But after that, he was almost fed the kill. Tried to stay alive as long as possible. Managed to avoid the incendiary and follow-up ult shot. And at that point, Simple played himself, I'm afraid. Makes his first major mistake of this quarterfinal. I was almost said grandfather. This could be the grandfather tournament. You know, these two teams, and with Navi in this arena, kind of makes sense. But this is the quarterfinal. Long way to go yet. And it will be the first gun round there going for SK. Like I said, didn't really have to run the default for too long or go for an execution. Just an overcommitment there from Navi. It's 6-4 now, and they'll still have plenty of men on the CT side if you take a pause. I'm sure this is tactical. I can have a look who's called it. It was Zeus. So just going to work out whether he wants to change the pace, perhaps. Maybe go for a B control at the very start. Get Simple in a more aggressive position towards second middle. Plenty of options there. I'm sure Simple makes his own mind up where he wants to go. That's what the best stoppers usually do. They don't need to be told, they do the telling.
That's typically the case. Yeah, yep, got it this time. Cold leads the way. Electronic one off. So Fallen to a T-sided op. We talk about style, audaciousness. Simple certainly is a little more flashy than Fallen. Not that he's short of any highlight reels in his career, but he's posted and ready, and Simple refuses to go a step further. It absolutely is the right call because Fallen had the spawn to beat him there. Meanwhile, Fur, standard procedure, will get inside a boiler, set play for him to throw a nade, and then spam into the wall. He's just checking to see if anyone was in the hallway, and was being the operative word because Electronic fell back after taking a bit of damage. Flash off to the arch side. Fallen will hold while his teammates go. Once they're far enough, and he's confident enough that his young teammates are safe from Dad's protection, he'll start to walk over on the right, cover off quad and wrap in. Electronic still on the balcony, overwhelmed by the fact that Bolts comes in late and Simple misses a shot. That opens up pretty much everything in the site directly with Edward smoked off. And it's going to be a save because Flamey has turned right at the bottom of Banana and gone toward T-spawn. Surprisingly, Edward didn't join him in that.
That's more like it from SK. That is a solid default there. And coldzera continues to apply the pain. 2 more kills for him as he finds his 15th after 10 rounds. And Flamey to try and survive here. He's currently on 3 for 8 and he holds up in the T apartment. So 4 players to survive for SK. Posting 2 rounds in a row now. First one they got, or the previous round, was very messy from Navi, but this was pure brilliance from SK. Great split towards the bomb site. You see them pushing towards the arch, the quad, the apartments. Bolt opens things up, and coldzera, he certainly finishes things off in style. Looking to have one of those godlike performances. Running away with the stats so far. 6-5. That was after the pause of Navi as well. So they do save 1 rifle. There is 1 more buy available for Navi. They get the AWP out in Simple's hands again. You can see how many players survived in this lovely graphic on your screens right now. Big round here for both teams. SK can do this. They'll have so much money, enough for the rest of the half, and they'll shut down Navi. Simple doesn't commit towards the T-steps. Not many AWPers will. Huge disadvantage to go for that. As Fallen fires off speculative shots there towards the top of B. Through the smoke as Edward wants to challenge once again. There are 3 players on this side of the map. Is Simple there with them? He's not. Zeus is. So he's to rotate over.
Not the best flashbang I've ever seen. That one's a little better, but it catches out both sides because there's one thrown the other direction as well. Fallen can't hit the shot, but in blindness, there comes Light, and Fur flashes his way through to find Flamey. It's responded by Zeus, but he's now set on fire, and he might just set SK on fire with him. Bolts burns him, but he gets Stewie first. It's a man advantage to SK, but the HP firmly in the favor of Navi. Simple gets the AWP, but he's smoked off. Can't hit a shot just by chance on cross. And an additional smoke deployed as they safely try and plant the bomb. Fallen will hold at Banana. He is the key to the post plant, and a post plant that has already been won. Little do they know, because away go Navi to save their weapons.
Oh yes, Electronic and Simple will save the AWP and the M4A4. That will be enough, but it's another beat confrontation that leads SK to tie things up 6-6. Stewie to find that really important frag at the very top there. Managed to topple Edward and Flamey. Zeus actually got 2 frags, the only frags Navi found, but it wasn't really enough there. A double smoke from SK towards spawn. Didn't really matter, though, the fact that Navi didn't fancy that whatsoever. Simple, I thought he was going to hit one of those shots through the smoke. They're very close to one of the flicks. Didn't connect. coldzera just confirms the bomb will go off, which it will. It's looking much better now after losing, what was it, 6 rounds in a row? Indeed it was, to Navi. They've now tied things up. Remember, SK did win the pistol and have the 3-0 start. Timeout again, this time called by Fallen. So, the boys in black at the very end, as they discuss their options here. They'll be using the AWP once more. That's drop for Fallen and Spawn. And Navi, I don't think they're forcing this one, man. They've saved the AWP and the M4. I'm surprised by that. Navi, normally one of the teams that absolutely love a force buy.
There's no question about that.
But
I wouldn't quite call them sort of envy levels of Force
No,
Pride.
not like that. But even in this tournament cast we've had, they've had some really weird decisions in terms of like game-altering buys.
Yeah, yesterday it strikes me that they had a rather questionable one.
But they're going to save some cash here. 2K per player. I'm surprised. The fact they got the simple AWP, I might even say it's worth it at this stage of the game, but who knows. It will just be the 3 pistols and a simple AWP, who's presumably working a bit harder for a frag. He definitely is. But all but Fallen spotted him. coldzera beats him to the punch. Oh my goodness, he's performing well today. 2 kills for him to kick off this round. And that's surely it. I don't see them recovering from the lost AWP.
And you said he was going to switch it on. You said that he wanted to step back up.
Well, that's what Stewie told me. He said, you know what, coldzera is so fired up for this game. He's going to be delivering some pain today.
And simple, you give him credit. He doesn't want to cross over the top of middle because he knows that peak doesn't favor him, so he wants to slip up the mid wall. The problem is that, and we saw it, that massive gun barrel. Sometimes bigger isn't better, Henry. Because it gave the information, and Cold slipped out to get the kills in return. Nade goes to the top. Excuse me, that's a flash. That was going to be a nade. Speaking of flash, though, that only helps Fur get the kill by 12 HP as a margin. 5 versus 2, Edward and Electronic. SK about to steal back the lead on Inferno T side. This is an impressive result for them. Flash out, Fallen. Molotov toward the pit. I think they actually doubled that up, but it doesn't matter. It'll serve the same cause. Edward inside of the site, though. He's 22 HP. He's the last one alive, but he found Fallen as well. He'll get the op back.
I thought the Deagle spray down was coming in there, but it doesn't quite connect. So the first bullet did. Certainly dangerous. Here's the frag leaders so far. coldzera, 18 kills, 6 deaths. Electronic, after that amazing performance towards quad, finds itself at 13 and 7. Those are the leaders on both teams, of course. Kill to death ratio at 3.0 for coldzera. That's quite phenomenal as we're coming to the last closing rounds now. 7-6, round 14. Another pause called this time by Zeus. You're going to see both of these tactical legends of the game use all their pauses. They know how important it can be just to make sure everyone's on the right page. Get everyone controlled as we get into another gun round for Navi. Don't have the backup of the simple AWP, but of course, you mentioned it. He's an absolute god on the AWP and the M4, so don't worry about that. In terms of utility, it's pretty healthy for Navi. Got a couple of kits as well, so still a very winnable round as we get into it now. In terms of spawns, Fur's got a decent one, but I assume it would be more of a default here. It's difficult to really mix things up on the Inferno T side. You normally have to do a default at the start, then go into your set pieces after that, unless you're rushing B, for example.
So Stu, as he's named himself rather than Stewie 2K. Tries to fire up Banana, but watch for Fur. Okay, so Electronic. I should have read that by the height difference that he was on the balcony. I thought he was inside there for a minute. But Fur's going to take advantage of this, go all the way up. They're going to try and go aggressively. He jumps left. The plan being, and he executes his part of it. He catches out Simple by getting in behind him, and he baits out the shot for the second man to trade. Still a kill came in for the CTs, but in the end, it results well because they got the third man to result for it instead.
Faster pace there from SK. Works out very well for them. coldzera with 1, and then Stu and Fur to follow up. And now Fallen. It's hunting season. He knows he can justify sending a few players after these CTs who are currently residing right there in T-spawn. Certainly worth the hunt in my opinion. You've got so much money there available. It's the last round anyway. They're not going to fully commit to it, surprisingly. I would say send everything and throw the kitchen sink at them as well. Last round next, and even if you lose all 4, you can still buy. They will just let them survive, though. I'm not sure why they didn't go for that. At least if you just trade out one of them and just really limit the money. They got maximum loss when it's next round, but the CT side, that really helps them out with 2 weapon
and it's
saves.
not like you can go with the old NIP and threat mythology.
Exactly.
You're not going to bait them into a force by round 15. They're going to do it no matter what.
Yeah, I think they definitely should have gone for that. It's maybe a little bit too disciplined from SK.
Well, either way.
Yes. They're going to win the half.
Yeah, it may not be right in that situation, but it's good to show discipline. Maybe let's say at least they're considering that. With that said, we go 8-6, and you're right, they can still extend that lead in this half. No AWP for Simple. Not that he's any lesser of an opponent without it. He'll stay toward B this time. Play with Edward, they're going to play passively. And Stu will start to sort that. Get some positional control at Banana. Zeus underneath the atrium has to play off of Flamey, so Crossfire Stet at the top of middle, and they'll play aggressively toward the wall. Zeus flashed. He'll want people to retreat. He's committed at this point in time, and Flamey's already back. Zeus has to get out. There's no support, no trade potential, and Fur takes him down.
Yeah, Zeus is not the player to be rolling those sort of positions alone at quad with no backup whatsoever. If you've got Flamey there, maybe Electron will be thinking, okay, he can probably get a kill. Zeus, that's just not his kind of spot. Either way, 5 versus 4 now, and here come the big fraggers for Navi. Holding up on the side. Oh, look at the coordination there. This is much better from SK. This is looking great. Once they've got going, sure, they lost 6 rounds in a row, but once things start to stabilize, this is looking quite promising now. As they'll take this last round. Edward and Simple might as well go for it, but this is nigh on impossible at this point.
So Simple will silently creep inside of the smoke. Not the start the home fans, well, I shouldn't say the immediate start, as you say, there was 6 rounds in a row, but not the start to the series that the home fans would have wanted for Navi, as it looks like they're going to concede the first half. CT side Inferno, no less. 9-6 in favor of SK.
Oh, the knife. So he wanted to get Simple there right at the end, right at halftime. Worth the risk. Could have been a bit of a crowd pleaser or a crowd shocker, I guess, considering where we are. Either way, it would be 9-6 at half. SK Gaming looked like they were falling apart at the mid stages, but they pulled it right back in the end with 6 in a row. We'll take a break and be back with the second half very shortly. Do not go anywhere.
Well, SK, the early advantage is they carry 9 rounds from the attack to the defense on Inferno, and if they find another pistol, it might spell disaster for Navi. We'll see if they can recover. Simple has tried his best. He's gotten 12 and 9 to start things off, but it was Electronic that was most impressive, and a couple of different rounds over toward, obviously, the quad side, where he found 4 kills. We had an ace from Cold on the other side of things, just to put one up on that, but Electronic was efficient on A. There's no question about that.
Yeah, he was the heart and soul of the bomb side, that's for sure. Some interesting setups there for Navi towards the end. You can see them starting to fall apart somewhat. And there's the scoreboard at the top. Cold Zero almost posting 20 frags in the first half. He was a beast. As we get into the second, we'll have a look at the buy. Won't be a rush here from what I can see without the HE grenades, but they are sending 4 players towards that side of the map. They're going to give it a go, and it's up to Flamey to try and fend off Fur, and he'll do a fantastic job of doing that. Well done, but Stewie given the opportunity, but he meets the same fate as his teammate, Just Fallen, who could steal this one away. They might not check him, but indeed they will.
Bolt's tagged up considerably. He's on 12 HP. Will not be able to swing any further toward the site. And Coldzera gets in position with the CZ bombs planted. Cold gets one and backs away. A little bit of time bought because they have to close the gap to him. Unfortunately, his teammate couldn't do anything to help him, but Coldzera, Edward was out of ammo as well. He had to try and pick up a gun that was dropped, and now it's going to be Cold with the same problem. And I'm afraid the CZ takes too long to reload when he was that far committed. If he hit that third shot, my God, that could have been interesting.
There was 1 second of me that thought, he's doing it.
Absolutely.
This is happening. He only had 2 bullets left in the CZ when he had to challenge him for the second time. Unfortunately, that's not quite enough, as Navi with the B rush there works out for them. Like I said, they didn't use the nades, but maybe that is where the game is heading. Every team that wants to rush B has been nading so far. If you don't throw the nades, maybe they won't be expecting it. Who knows how that works? But either way, force buy from SK here. CZ across the board, 1 HE for bolts. And they're going to be taking damage in those flames, surely, just for all of them towards the sandbags. If they take an HE now, that could be disastrous. Stu is trying to take the attention away. This is a baited switch if ever I saw one, but one player will fall back, knowing that that could be a little bit too potent for the HE. Baller takes on the nades to the face, but Stewie giving bullets out in equal measure, looking for the second kill, and now it's where Fur can be baited in. Can't get the double kill, though. I really thought that was going to be quite interesting for them, but overall, 3 versus 2 still possible for SK here. Coldzera alive and kicking. Anything can happen.
Absolutely. We saw how effective he was on the CZ in the last round. Simple is guarding a gold mine in Banana right now with the amount of SMGs that are down. It certainly would be worth their weight in gold to either of the SK players if they could make it that far as to pick them up. Bolt's not willing to commit to B. He wants to be close enough by and not get caught. Bomb slowly goes back down to, in fact, through the underpass it made. So taking no chances in getting toward presumably apartments where Flamey leads the way. In fact, they're all 3 going to go that direction. So I can't, yes, Cold's alive. I can't picture Cold not being found here. With 3 players coming out that doorway, we'll see. It would be pretty miraculous. It certainly would have to be a cold day. And he gets found. Simple immediately. No mistake in checking it. That was always going to happen. Bolt's left in a 1 versus 3. Simple, 10 HP says, I don't want to plant that bomb, and rightfully so. That nade might have been the difference.
Well, the P90 no less. 3 kills picked up for Simple. And it will be bolts to save the CZ and helmets. I guess you don't lose any money for surviving on the CT side, you know, so might as well. It's the best it's going to happen for himself. Just find a Mac 10 there as well, potentially a little bit more. Who knows? UMP, Navi could have done with throwing those away, but UMP for the next round, if he does survive, he can drop the CZ for a teammate and have a slight chance of farming some cash. Probably won't win the round, but every kill that UMP is worth $600, so might as well take that to the next round. Certainly more beneficial than the Mac 10 is. Round number 18 coming up, as it looks like Navi should be able to tie the scoreboard up. As the 2-0 comes in, they'll have a full eco pretty much up against them. Bolts does survive, but that's pretty much all SK got going for them in this particular round. Here's the replay. What we're going to see, surely some P90 work from Simple. A weapon we don't see very often, but it has got a lot of run and gun potential and 50 bullets of doom. You can see how mobile that is as Coldzera gets destroyed there in the pit. If it had the $600 reward bonus, I think I would be on board with it. But the fact it costs $2,350, which is almost 1,000 more than any other SMG, it's a cool gun to use, but I think the price is just a little bit too high. Too rich for my blood, Matt.
Too rich. Too rich for your blood. If it's too rich for Henry G, it's too rich for the world.
That's saying something, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. He's a big spender. Up in that crypto. Where am I even going with that? I don't know, man. Just trying to get gangsta up in here.
Well,
as Edward will go back toward the top of mid, work his way toward Boiler. Try that again.
It is actually a jump that is a little bit frustrating. Like, it's a little bit further than it used to be. And like 1 out of 5 times, it feels like I fail it at least. I'm not surprised some pros do. As we'll get into what should be a formality. Navi to find the 9th round. There is a CZ, like I said, dropped to Stu by bolts. Fallen. I thought it was spotted by Electronic, but not quite. X-ray can be a little bit misleading in that respect, as Coldzera does land some damage, but not much. It will now be round 18, where Navi certainly can make this map very entertaining now. 9-9. Some of the greatest players in CSGO on the server right now.
Absolutely.
Looking to put on a bit of a show.
Yeah, this is a tantalizing matchup. Same with FaZe against either of these opponents. 9-9 having won the pistol, both teams winning their respective T sides. Pistol, that is, obviously. Keep it in context. Context matters. As it will be the P90 for Electronic carried over well to the UMP for Flamey, but it's going to be rifles brought out for everyone on SK, and this is the start of the defense.
Yeah, that force spike's hurting them, though. You can see no kits, no AWP, that's for sure. Fallen's have to go for the FAMAS just to make sure they have some utility. And they really are going to be struggling here. Bonus situation for Na'Vi with this. They're in the driving seat. They'll have all the money. As Simple and Electronic start to probe the map, it's going to be a UMP for Flamey. Simple will be taking the rifle here. Nice to see Na'Vi maybe taking some of the criticism or the memes that have been created online. I'm not sure which one you'd call it. Either way, he has been gifted the AK and drops his P90 over.
Zeus holding from the sandbags. If Fallen even steps out 1 inch too far, he has done. So information absolutely attained, and as he knows he's still speaking the same angle, he'll try and slide out and elongate that from his perspective. Smoke to go down, and Fallen backs away. Stewie still inside of the site during all of this, is just waiting, hoping that they'll actually commit to going in. Fallen has to be careful as well because he was tagged to 48 in the process of that exchange. So Stewie off angle at the fountain. Hits the first, no problem, but it's the P90 of all weapons to take him down immediately after. Flashback in. Fallen, he's got to be more efficient than that because he was a sitting target for Simple's arrival, having taken so long or took so long to find Electronic. They'll push up to the tree. Fur's going to have to be aware of that. It's pretty common, so no doubt he checks it. Please, Fur, please. As he flashes and looks away. That is absolutely crisp from Simple, and it's Navi that's going to take the lead 10-9.
Yeah, filthy from Simple, my God. In CT spot by the tree. As he takes down 3, well done by him. Secures the round, and like we said, SK coming into this one had almost nothing. The M4 is sure, but a FAMAS for Fallen, limited with no real utility. No diffuse kits, and that's the problem with force buy these days. I really feel like teams are going to start moving away as the year develops from that instant reaction to force buy fully in the second round. I don't think it's worth it. I think you're risking too much, especially in a very equal matchup like this. For me, Deagles, no armor, that's the way forward. Bolts is going down, maybe not though, as he does find the kill. Simple will be dropped and at least take some money out of the bank account of Na'Vi there. 10-9 now, as we'll see round 20 come in. Here's the AWP situation. Fallen, it's only been bested so far by Simple, but the AWP battle hasn't really begun for me yet. Those guys haven't really been jousting as of yet. It'll be 7-3 in that respect. But now, Fallen's on the CT side, you have to remember that. That's where he'll do the majority of his work with the AWP. This run boost from Stu, this could actually do something, doesn't capitalize on it. I thought he was there about 2 seconds earlier. So thought he might commit, but not going to be the case. Bolt saved the M4. This is not a force buy, barely even a partial, just a few CZs purchased, and one of them goes down. coldzera found first.
Nade to the bottom of the stairs. Flamey's behind. As Fur goes down, he did look that direction, but get caught out nonetheless. Another round for Na'Vi, given the weaponry. Bolts will have to try and save once more. And as such, they leave him at B, rightfully so. Na'Vi have completely turned this around. It was 6 rounds in a row. You mentioned that, Henry, in the last half that they got, and then it was SK to respond, take the win in the half, 9-6 overall. They still have yet to win one on the CT side, which means it's now going to be a 5-round in a row spread with pistol, with first gun, mind you, but for Na'Vi. That's T side, though, so absolutely take those 5 rounds.
Yeah, worth the weight in gold. Stu and Bolts trying to hold on to that M4 once again. In terms of loss bonus, like we just said, is a maximum into the next round. And they've got about 2 capable players. The game really goes into its final phase after this round. We'll see the AWPs come out on the CD side, maybe even the double AWP setup. You've got plenty of options there now. You can get Stu, very proficient with that AWP. coldzera needs no introduction with the double AWP setup of him and SK. Be interested to see which way they want to go with it. Stu's going to save some armor as well here, so he'll have plenty of money for the next round. Currently got $2,000 there. Maximum loss bonus coming in, and all 5 players survive for Na'Vi. Recovering tremendously. It felt like this was an SK game. They took the last 6 rounds of the first half on the T side. So there we have it. 11-9, and the double orb setup does come out. It will be Cold, Zera, and Fallen. There you have it. Questions have been answered. Fallen buys his last bit of utility there. Diffuse kit's available for 2 players. Bolts saving twice in a row. Still $4,000.
Yeah, this is going to be obviously one to A, one to B, but this is going to be interesting.
Presumably Cold Zera at the B-bomb site. It's actually Fallen, you know, so there we go.
I was expecting maybe one would go to apartments where Bolts is and try and get aggressive with it early on. Bolts will do that with the rifle instead. Leave it to SK and a double up setup to try and do something slightly out of left field. Throw a curveball. So bomb intentionally left behind by Navi. They'll go back for that, presumably within the next, I would say, 10 to 15 seconds. Given that they'll, whether they get a kill or not, have to start positioning. Yeah, Simple's going to do it now. So Fallen pushed back to the site. They'll take a little bit of map control in Banana as well.
You can see how designed that was to take a player like Fallen down. They know his tendencies. The HE and the flashbang combo pushes him right back there. He'll have to go to a more defensive line. Cold Zera still holding strong in the arch. 3 players now make it 4 towards that banana area for Navi at this stage. Flamey has been taken down to 46 points of health, but this looks like a B execution if ever I've seen one. They know there's an AWP B. They can remove that threat with the utility. If a Molotov goes in towards back right, Fallen could be in a lot of trouble. And there it comes. He'll have to move. Flashbang coming in as well. He is really feeling the burn at this point, and a player's made it through to ruins. That's electronic.
Fallen doesn't know it. He's still staring out for the next arrival. Shot, successful, burning. His tippy toes standing on the flames. Cold is there to back it up, but again, it's still in ruins. That's the problem. They've spotted him yet? No, they haven't. Electronic is still there. And Simple's got a kill on Stu. Here comes the wrap. They're not ready for it. Fallen has no idea, and Electronic is... Oh, okay. Fair enough. I was going to say he's making damn sure he can get the angle perfect. Tried to even drop down and surprise him so as not to have the op. Just happened to be aiming in that direction. Still gets sorted.
Well, Fallen arrives in style coming into this half. He only had 3 AWP kills, but those are 2 very impressive ones. So much utility coming in his direction. You can see him dancing around the flames, trying to avoid the flashbangs, and Electronic looked certain to kill him there towards the end, but it wasn't meant to be. 11-10. Double AWP setup survives for another round. Simple brings out his AWP as well. Fallen looking to push towards the T-steps. He isn't messing around here, is he? Nope. A missed shot from Simple. No damage inflicted to either. So Fallen trying to send a message out that he's not scared. No one hitting the shot just yet, though.
Yeah, Edward's still inside a boiler. Bolts looks fairly comfortable. Get a nade back in toward the apartments. I realize I've made an error, Henry.
What's the error?
I said SK was the only team with 5 major winners on it, but for different teams, Bolts has never won a major.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I've corrected myself. And I apologize, Henry. I've let you down. Flashes go out. Fur from underneath that quad is able to find Edward. Zeus does get the immediate trade, though. And it's needed when they get to the 44-second mark.
Versus 4. Time ticking down, absolutely so. Double AWP setup. Waits patiently. It will be an A-side attack, though. Both players of the CTs position on the site and in the pit. Bolts will be in the latter. Cold Zera with the AWP watches the apartments. Final smoke comes in, but it's awful. Not going to help them out at all. As Zeus comes down, gets the first kill. Simple with the second. That could be the round in itself. Fallen and Stu have got no business going for this at all.
Bomb gets planted, and Navi, having given up 1 round, are about to reset SK and make this 12th. A success achieved early. I think early, we're pretty late into it, but early enough on this T-sided half when you consider where they began. Zeus will go hunting. They want the guns down. They want that AWP gone. They won't overcommit to it. I can't imagine in this situation, given that there's Flamey on his heels, but Just single positioning. Smoke's kind of smart in this situation. The round's already secured, but they want to use all the utility they can just to flush these guns out. And that smoke also negates the possibility of an AWP posted up and ready for them to enter. Stu just gets around the corner. Zeus wants to chase it. Gets one, but not the op.
Well, that's still fine. It will be Navi to win the round, and that's a reset as well for the CTs, and they know it. That's why they're pushing for those kills. They've got plenty of money. Flamey's got $14,000 right now, and the rest of them hovering around 5 to 8K. So they've got no problems buying. With that one weapon removed, SK need to decide if it's worth it. At the very top, they do have 4K available. They did see one player there. I think it was the AWP of Fallen. So this will be enough for at least 3 M4s. The AWP, which was dropped. Well, sorry. An M4 was dropped after the AWP was saved. And then Stewie will be on the MP9. It's actually coldzera that's going to wield the AWP. I'll see if he's got a good spawn. He actually has. I hope we can watch him at the start. I hope the observers have noticed. coldzera of an AWP. Best spawn available. I think he's going to go for the second mid pick. That would be my assumption. And if it happens, it's going to be pretty electrifying. On the other side of the server, Na'Vi with 2 MAC-10s with 3 players of our helmets, they maybe have underestimated how much is going to be available to SK here. Time will tell. Watch out for coldzera. He gets a nice little bunny hop as well. He might be going for this. Doesn't commit towards the peak of second middle, and it will be a B rush potentially by at least 3 players of Na'Vi. Getting towards the top here. Do they go in with this? I'm not sure. Maybe that smoke, they definitely won't.
What a silhouette. Flamey, meanwhile. AK-47 will try and add to the kills in favor of his side. Stu going down is costly. Fallen still in an MP9, but they've got the AWP on Cold, and Cold is in pit with an op. Not common, you see it there. Bolts will play Graveyard Stairs beside him, so if you can bait them in with the op shots, I was going to say Bolts is perfectly positioned. He's actually moved. He actually almost got spotted. I think they may have seen him because they're jumping down on top of him already. Cold gets one. He's going to have a lot of problems very fast, and somehow Edward doesn't chase the hole in the wall. Cold gets them all. Bomb goes down, and it's suddenly Zeus. 1 versus 3, op in the pick. Go figure.
That was unbelievably good by coldzera. Can't quite finish it yet, but there it is. The final kill comes in. I was about to say, that position doesn't seem ideal for the AWP. 1 Molotov and you're exposed to the elements. You would think he'd be in the open, flashed out, needs your mobility of the M4, but luckily for him, no Molotov comes in that direction. He hits absolutely every shot. Bought a bit of time by his teammate in the pit with him, and it will be a beautiful performance there from coldzera. Bit of a gamble to put him on the AWP instead of Fallen, but he finds his 26th frag, and now Fallen's on the MP9. He's like, you know what, kid? You're doing all right. You can continue with the AWP. And it will be 12-11. This one's going the full distance here. CT's pull back from the reset. And now money's still strong for Navi even after this buy. Flamey still with $5,000. Same story for Simple as well. But he's yet to buy. I don't think he's purchased just yet. Has he got something on the floor for himself? I think that's why they've paused to discuss whether he uses this good spawn to maybe buy the AWP or go for the AK-47. He can get both. We'll see which way he is inclined. The unpause comes through. Still hasn't purchased just yet, but here's the replay. Let's just enjoy this for a second. You can see it's Bolts taking away all the aggro for him and then sets him up for something quite wonderful in the end. 4 kills in total. Simple, just to know, does go for the AK instead of the AWP. coldzera will stay primary AWPer for now as they chase the score of 11-12.
So Electronic this time, bottom of Banana has a smoke out in front of him. I'll try and take advantage of it. The fact that the Molotov didn't extend to the corner, and hopefully they might have tried to push for position and you would have found the kill, but they back inside of B. They'll go for the boost actually at New Box. Slow pace to the rounds. That's not, I guess, surprising when it's Navi.
Well, yeah, much different to what SK were doing. You know, they were quite efficient and like very quick default at the start. Group up together, force some fights, And this will be the B execution. Undoubtedly so now. They've got no presence on the map whatsoever. Let's see how technical it'll be, because he's simple. That looks like emo Molotov. I haven't seen it thrown that way before, so that's quite cool. Flashbangs coming in, actually affecting Stewie there, and bullets affecting Na'Vi. Fallen gets the first with the MP9, but Stu in a compromised position here. Flames around him, not quite reaching to the new boxes, and now he's exposed himself. Can he find any more kills?
Good shot, good flash timing. He'll take out Edward. I don't see any singe marks on the ground by Emo, so I'm curious if that landed there or not. I would have liked to have seen it. Either way, Cold is ready at Coffins with no further smoke in front of him, which means the AWP is poised, but it's not ready because he misses the shots too. He's taken down and overwhelmed entirely as well. And the site opened up. A late opening to the site, all things considered. No utility down. Rotation's already in place, but they get the bomb plant nonetheless, and they know exactly where Fur is coming from. Gets the shot on Simple, but Electronic wants him to commit. He does not need to move, and he knows that. He's playing this very well. When you consider that, because the shadow will show, and Electronic will hit the shot first. It's Bolts against 2, and he's going to try the first. Knows where Electronic is. He's low HP. Just barely hits the spray, but it'll be the round to SK. We go 12-12.
Why is Electronic challenging that? I couldn't even tell you why. Let your teammate battle out on the 1 versus 1. You've got no HP. It wasn't like it was an instant reaction and caught up in the crossfire. He could have played that bomb. That's a real misplay from him. The fact he's got low HP, you need to be smart, use your brain in those sort of rounds. Hold up, get him uncomfortable. He can touch that bomb first. The fact he just straight up challenged with low HP, Bolts probably can't believe his luck, but there we go. Bomb plant is still a buy here for Na'Vi. Round 25, SK pulling it right back. Remember on the CT side. This was their pick. Hasn't always been the best map for SK, but maybe in this complexion with Stewie into the roster, is where they feel most comfortable. It's a stranger on the pick, just for the fact of, I've never noticed it be their best map, and Na'Vi is considered their absolute best in terms of their map pool. So there we have it. Big round here. 4 players went down for SK. You can see some compromises have to be made there with the FAMAS, the MP9. Cold Zera still on the AWP. Fallen not really feeling it today, it seems, and I respect it. If he's not hitting his shots, he's not feeling comfortable, and Cold Zera is playing like a beast, then go at it. Round 25, and they'll make a fast play towards the arch.
Down. Cold can't hit it. So many targets to land on, and he just doesn't get the luck inside of the smoke. In fact, they lose Fallen on the way by. Stu shows up late, damage done, but the MP9 at that range can't close, and they've opened up B by virtue of going to CT spawn. And the CT, speaking of, will wait to spawn into the next round with their weapons. At least that's the goal. They're all going to back away. Navi unwilling to give up the lead.
Seems that way. It will be the save now by SK. Good discipline call, didn't have to force the issue. Cold Zera, the high-value target, makes his way in towards the apartments there. Going to try and save the AWP. Looks like he'll do exactly that. Na'Vi in towards that B side, since Fallen gets 1 at the start in that first arch play, but they went through CT spawn. Stewie with the MP9 couldn't find one at all. SMG, well, that particular one, very situational. Gravy, you can push through smokes after a flash, but if you're being chased down by the AKs, not really much chance of finding much at all. And like you said, Cold Zera with the AWP, very unlucky with 4 targets in the exact position he was aiming, through the wickets of all of them, you know, like didn't hit a single thing.
That's usually when you expect to get one through smoke, when you know you're rushing that corner. Like, that's a very common shot for an op to hit through smoke.
Sure.
And it just completely, I imagine by a millimeter or so. Look at the stats between the two. We said this was going to be a battle of the 2 best
Cold
in the world,
Zera,
arguably. Nico, the other one in that equation.
Bit tired of hearing Simple's the best player in the world at this point, you know? It's just like, I'm going to show him what I can do.
Well, he's been around for 2.5 years. About 3 now, but 3 years that were documented on the HLTV ratings, one of which he only played a half year. That's what I meant by 2.5 years. The 2 full years he played and had full statistics for, he's been the #1 rated player. So I imagine he does think that is his spot.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. He's earned it and proved it before.
There we go, 13-12. Back and forth now. After the initial win streak from Na'Vi, they managed to get 5 rounds in their favor before SK brought anything in the second half. This will be the B execute again, Matt. I want to follow Simple's Molotov. I'll look it out for you, see whether it does land where we think it will. Flashbangs go in, and they'll have to run through flames himself. Big round coming in here. Can SK hold them off?
And down already, our Navi bomb as well, inside of the smoke. Flamey's near enough to it, and they'll recover it on the way through, getting toward him, and in doing so, they'll find one, but Fallen responds. It's Stewie that still sits at Orange's 2. Excuse me, Orange's 1, as the Smoker and Molotov will actually aid him in some respects because the smoke coverage is right. Molotov doesn't go far enough on his left. Fallen gets another, but Stewie does get found in the end by Flamey, who's got 2 HP. Not much better off for Electronic. In fact, he's gone altogether. This is a round for SK. They trade it once again. We'll go 13-13. We are going down to the wire. And the money becomes a factor with this many back and forth affairs. In fact, there's enough left for Navi. If Bomb Plant absolutely gives them a full buy.
That's not going to happen, though, is it?
That's the problem.
Well,
but there's still enough left to force.
Yeah, they'll have enough. They've got 6K on Simple, so he can buy up. That depends whether he wants the AWP or not. I would say with this situation, he probably doesn't. But you can see 1,800 on Flamey. Coming to the deciding moments now of this first map. Remember, this is SK's pick. That B plate from Stewie and Fallen works out much better this time. So Flamey has a CZ. There are 4 rifles around him. Flamey and Edward only with a smoke each. That's all they really have. So this will definitely be an EK if they lose this one. Worst possible time for that to come through. Fallen feeling brave. Oh my, how much damage is he going to take? Down to 34. Just to get some B control here, but very vulnerable. He's in towards the logs map. 1 nade will take him down. He is really playing on fire in that position.
Look how stoic Fur looks in that position. He's focused. Body doesn't even look like it's moving. He's so tunneled in on that position, trying to wait for someone to come around the corner, but Edward down already. And this breaks Navi. 14, potentially 15, play for overtime. Simple tag to 86 by, I'll call it a stray nade. Not one that had much on it. Boost up inside of the site again, perhaps. New box, they've done it a few times. It avoided the Molotovs the last time, in fact, they went that direction because Navi tried, remember you spotted the one that went toward Emo, but it avoided the one that went to New Box. Speaking of, the incendiary out to the corner. That extends all the way into the exact corner, meaning no boost.
5 versus 4. Time ticking away though, Matt. You can see 34 seconds at this point. They've got the smokes and they haven't really decided where they're going. It looks like it'll be an A finish here, but it's going to be really right down to the wire, in true Navi style. We haven't had a timeout from them yet. Let's see if they even get close to the bomb site. They're a man down right now. Flamey has to get his skates on as they throw in the flashes towards A. I think it's flashed him.
Bolts is waiting. Everyone's got vision back by the time they arrive, so forget the fact that utility was deployed. It's Zeus that gets the kill, Simple to follow. Cole down in the corner, and a bomb to be planted inside of the smoke. The man advantage goes to Navi. I just finished saying that this would break Navi and give potentially 15 rounds to SK, but chickens hatching, counting, all of that, because it's actually going to be a save for SK and Navi that takes the lead.
Well, there we go. Simple and Coldzera equal on frags. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Equal the whole way down.
Yeah. That's pretty remarkable, isn't it? Same story for Fallen and Electronic, really. As we will see Navi somehow steal that round away. When I saw Flamey flash by his own team, I thought, okay, there's no way they even get this one done. They get in towards the pit. Bolts doesn't find a single kill, and the A site just collapses there. Coldzera goes down with nothing as well. Navi, and a must-win round, Matt. That could have been disastrous for them. Do manage to keep their head above water and take the lead. Thing is, SK probably could have justified retaking that had they had backup money. The thing is, we're coming down to the last few rounds here. You can't afford a reset right now. You can't lose everything. They know the money's going to be broken for the next one, so they save 3 M4s in a round. They could have been competitive in the retake. Look at the scoreboard properly while we're here. See who's any massive underperformers. Edward, 12 and 16. Flamey, notably, 10 and 18. One of the big names of Navi having a rough game here. On the SK side, I guess we can look at Stewie, 12 and 22. That is significant in terms of his deaths. Certainly haven't found that superstar form he showed in Cloud9 just yet in SK.
Bird a hold of the stairs at Boiler. Flamey is going to round that corner anytime. How far he commits beyond that is up for debate because there's not really a lot with him other than outside of Boiler. He is actually showing headshot potential, but Fur wants to wait it out. He knows he's got company. Cold's there to play off of it should they try and chase him out of that doorway. And they go. He's got the first shot. Backs off. Cold's got the angle. Fallen even deploys a Molotov so as to not allow them to wrap and catch his teammate. So that was all set play based on Fur's call to find the opener, and he did exactly that. Not a bad start at all. Flamey will still try and take the same position. Smoke down, gap in it. Cold's gonna push through. Bolts waits above. MP9, distance closing, gives it an advantage, but the flash comes through, and Fur's got no defense for it, but Cold does! Bomb goes down, great response by Simple and Swift, and he turns as well to find Bolts. 20 HP, and a little bit less than that in terms of time, but Simple, it doesn't matter what he's got. If there's a chance, that's all that matters.
Oh my goodness, this would be so epic if Simple can pull this one off. Fallen and Stewie coming in, they're not together. Simple, such low HP, but sometimes that doesn't matter. This first kill could be his. Not going to do it, though. Stewie will take him down. Well played to jump around the corner just to take his aim away from that corner, stop him going for the 180 there, and Simple won't be able to do it this time out, but I was actually believing that position, the fact he read the fact that he could be segregated. If he gets that first kill, it's almost certain he's going to get the second. That was pretty cool.
And man, oh man, this economy goes back and forth. Enough available to force for Navi. Simple has 7250. Everyone else, with the exception of Zeus, is well within range, but a timeout called from Navi.
Must be coming down to the last few timeouts here. What a long map it's been.
It has been, actually. It's gone quite a while, surely. And that tends to be the case with Navi on their T sides.
I think that's, yeah, it's very true, historically accurate as well. This lineup, not so much. They're not so like set piece focused, but they definitely run the clock down. They've done it a few times this half as well. They're not as technical as this team used to be, but the squad discussing now. Whoever wins this round, Matt, I dare say, wins the map. It's 14-14. Money is broken on either side. If no bomb goes down for Navi here, that could be them completely out of it. If SK don't save any weapons on their defeat, if it happens, this pretty much decides it. This is it. There's no money on either side. 14-14.
Yep.
This is actually kind of crazy. It's come down to round number 29 that pretty much decides it.
This is the equivalent of almost a sudden death overtime rather than playing out MR3.
Because there'll just be nothing left, depending obviously variables of bomb plants and people saving.
Yes.
But this pretty much decides who wins the
depending
map.
on the fact that pistols are always capable of winning rounds, and we've seen crazier things. So, but yes.
For the drama we're trying to present.
For all these reasons
the storyline
that we didn't just state.
Yeah.
Yeah. Build up a narrative and then stipulate everything just to make sure that we cover our bases so someone doesn't call us out. That's all we're doing. Start off for Flamey. It's gone well. It's gone very well because Edward sneaks in behind Bolts at the A-bales. And it's Navi. A save is certainly something to consider. Then have the bomb down, and they're already down toward Banana, but watch out because waiting for them is Zeus. He's aware that they're going to be trying to save. He's given up the fact that he's there. They'll smoke themselves off, but all right, this does add another variable we didn't consider to it, but Navi absolutely get the driving force in that they've secured overtime point.
That's exactly what I meant. As soon as the CD save 3 weapons, for example, there's still a fighting chance, of course, as Navi find map point first on SK's pick. Now there's a storyline for you. Fallen doing his best. He doesn't want to throw that smoke until he absolutely has to, just to make sure the bomb goes off and they have to run through with gray screen. They know if they can take a couple of these weapons down, it's definitely worth it. Edward uses some acrobatics to get towards Fallen, and it'll work out. As they'll take him down cleanly, he knows how impactful that was. The difference between 3 weapons saved and 2 is absolutely huge. Last round of the map. Will SK take us to overtime?
Crowd certainly don't want overtime. They want Navi to close this immediately.
Fallen's given the AWP this time. They've given it over. Cold Zero has been the primary AWP pretty much throughout this CT campaign. CZs, FAMASs, UMPs, Fur on the AK, and Fallen knows he has to do something with this. Looks down towards T-steps. Nothing there, and it will be the default. Navi looking to finish this off in regulation.
Electronic toward the top of middle. Flamey and Edward have already cleared out from Boiler. They'll work the apartments. You can see where the spray, that came through 2 walls. That came from actually inside a Boiler, down the thin wall. Smoke for Fallen. That's actually, oh my god, that's actually brilliant. Covers off Boiler, but throws it in such a way that it extends into mid and then wide peaks his own smoke and absolutely obliterates Zeus. That is exactly how you have to start with an AWP, and that is a very, very swift means of doing so. And they'll slow Navi's pace yet again, 54 seconds. Shout for Simple. Smoke to follow. That goes front library. Doesn't really indicate if they'll go right or left or otherwise. Fur, great play, gets two. Simple might trade it, but he gets two. That's the important aspect to this. Smoked off. He'll try and get away, but Simple puts him down. And they recover ever so slightly, but still there's a chance SK take this. Yes, they have picked up the gun on Stewie. They've gone to the AK-47. Yes, they are positioned inside of the site with patience as Bolts goes out with the smoke, or excuse me, with the flash. It's down two, and our one man, our one hero, Simple, who's got no chance with Stu's positioning. We go to overtime.
Oh my goodness, they hold on. It was the force fight, of course, round number 30 dictated, always will be, but Navi can't close it out. It's the single AWP, the UMP, the FAMAS, but Fur finds two. 3 players survive, and coldzera finishes regulation on 27 kills, 17 deaths. But Simple did go a little bit further with 30 frags there, but overtime will ensue. It will be 16K, MR3. Navi stay on the T side here. And it's all reset. I think that's a bit of a sigh of relief from SK. They really were struggling in those last few rounds. Overtime. I don't think SK are expecting this one, especially with the way they kick things off. We'll be right back into the action here. No diddly-dallying. We'll just be seeing this double AWP set up once again for Fallen and coldzera. Simple with his AWP and a cheeky deagle to go with it, of course.
So MR3, 16K, as if this game couldn't get any better. It keeps delivering, we get more of it. Smoke down, Electronic keeps himself preserved in position cryogenically with the smoke. Fur rather, and Cold will hold off the top side of middle. We saw the same play, remember, from Navi in the first half where Zeus got caught out because they flashed, in this case, the player that is Cold, but then it was Flamey away and he got locked out. Fur is very capable of fighting for himself, and Cold will never shy away from a fight. If Fallen fires at that wall right now, or if he does that and stays patient, it's going to be perfect. He steps out to catch Zeus in transfer as well, and Cold on the second AWP has found Edward. Perfect start to the round from SK, as Fur will make it even more the case as they find themselves in a 5 searching for 1. The 1 does have the bomb, but that's irrelevant.
Oh, Fallen's back. He disappeared for a couple of rounds of the AWP, but that was much more like it. That's vintage Fallen right there. As he preempts the jump towards the half wall, nails that first shot, anticipates the reaction as the player swings wide. And now 5 versus 1. Electronic might as well go for it.
Gotta love the camera. Never a dull moment, even as we get this late. Fallen with his absolutely spectacular round. Puts SK once again up by 1. Remember, it's the search for round 19 that we're after. 18-18, Henry, and I think you know all too well what happens then.
We do it all over again, man.
We had a quintuple overtime, you and I, in this tournament.
We did, and we were going for our own record. Didn't quite make it. But Electronic, he will be looking to find heads as he takes down Fallen. Can't get the double spray down. Stu's got it all to do. He's been very quiet so far, but that's enough. 2 kills will at least make this retake possible as the bomb will be planted. He has had a quiet performance so far. That was his 16th frag, considering overtime. A player of his caliber, he expects a bit more, but 2 frags will be enough in this particular instance. The retake begins. coldzera on the AWP now, Fur and Bolts, both in towards CT spawn.
Smoke down. Hinders their chances of getting back in, but overtime and no need to save, having won the first, and that's at MR16 as well. They'll go. Take every chance. Molotov goes deep enough that Cold's, I was going to say forward of it. He's got to stand in the smoke because it extends all the way to it. Simple sees the gun barrel, and that is enough invitation to Simple knees, but he jumped! A jump by accident for! He stepped into the flames, he was committing for the plant, for the defuse, and Edward had it all covered off.
What a chaotic finish. It might be late, but the counter-strike that is being presented right now is absolutely world-class. Simple and coldzera, two of the absolute most talented players in CSGO right now, putting on quite the show. And they'll be splitting the difference so far, 1-1. As overtime continues here, round number 3, double AWP setup still for SK, who will be taking the lead here. That's a massive round for Navi to take, and Fallen, one more tick would have done him, He gets away with 15 points of health.
15 HP, but an AWP in his hands, you absolutely give him a chance. Bolts combines with Fur to find Flamey yet again. And SK take the early advantage in the round. Fallen will sit back, smoke goes in, that's a poor smoke. That indicates to me, if I'm Fallen, that they're not even after Banana, that they're throwing that while retreating, and that's exactly what they were doing. Just put it out for the sake of it at that point. It is early enough in the round that you can't bank on that alone and rotate to A, expecting them running that direction, but yeah, not exactly the most accurate positioning. Fur's being a little bit clever. If the smoke goes down, he can fall back toward the library. You can also fall inside of the arch, but standing in the arch directly is an all too common lineup for ops to peek, for AKs to take advantage of, so he's trying to be just off the mark. Here you go. So smoke's gonna go down. He's in between. He's 50-50. He can take a decision if he wants to fight forward or fall back inside of the arch. And he's gonna use his own bit of flames, bit of fire to hold off the tease. He knows they're at the mid wall, and with Banana still being contested, it's very likely they'll try and go for a split through CT if they can find the kill onto Fur. Edward, though, having found a kill on the other side, may change all of that. They're going to go back around. It's got to be coldzera again on an AWP. Last line of defense for SK on the A site. Spots one already. Stairs of Graveyard. Cold knows he's already been found out. Has a big problem because Simple has planted the bomb. He committed to it, and a nade goes in. Cold misses the shot toward the apartments. He's due to expire at any point. They bait one more shot, and Simple fires through the wall.
They know what that means. coldzera going down pretty much guarantees the situation. Stewie, it's the last round. It's overtime. Has to go for it. He'll be coming in from the arc. But Simple makes light work of him, and it's going to be 2-1 on the T side of overtime here. That's huge from Navi. Simple finds his 35th frag. That was that was 5 in overtime in 3 rounds. That's not bad at all. Really, really enjoying this map. We'll see whether SK can recover. Certainly possible. They found some weaknesses on the CT defense, that's for sure, in regulation.
So SK struck first, but the other 2 rounds slip away.
The first round was so convincing as well. Fallen. That AWP shot, you could see they were going for the full execution at that point. He's just ready for it. As soon as Simple gets taken down, they have to unload everything. He hits the second shot, falls back. They've really dropped anything there, but unfortunately, they couldn't continue with that pace. 2 rounds go against them, and now Navi have a huge advantage. 1 round guarantees double overtime. Anything more than that on the CT side, and they've picked up SK's map.
To keep track of the one-on-one duel between the man that was just in the front of shot and the one that is on screen now, it's 35 kills for Simple. It's 30 for Cold.
That's pretty insane. So good when both of those players arrive in a particular match.
They're extending the use of halftime. There is a rule that stipulates at halftime you are entitled to 2 minutes that you can take advantage of should you elect to do so. That rule is written, I'm sure, it must. I mean, at this point, it must. We're far enough along to have realized spirit of the rules and loopholes that exist. It must include overtime halves because originally it was written for regulation, but presumably
I think it's there, but teams very rarely use it, you know, because you've already played 30 rounds. Your setups are pretty much defined. You know what you're going to be doing. You don't need to discuss for 2 minutes. I think it's there, but rarely used. And the guys are saying go. So it's not Navi delaying things. It's now underway. The countdown begins. Remember, 2-1. To Navi, who are now on the CT side. I'll reiterate, 1 round guarantees double overtime. 2, we'll find them in the next map. It's basically 1st to 19 at the top of your scoreboards.
Long game, long day. Every single series has gone 3 maps. This one's gone 1.
And we just hit 1 a.m.
Map
So
1. What time is it now?
1 a.m.
Well, there you go. Full moon tonight?
It could be.
I did notice you were looking a bit more like a werewolf than normal.
Oh, we'll have to see how this one pans out, Matt. I don't have anything to add to that, I'm afraid.
Wondering where you're
My
going.
wit has kind of dropped down with as time goes on. I'll be fully charged for tomorrow, don't worry. And it'll be Fallen on the AWP on the T side here. Flashbang towards the top. Fur making his way through the apartments here. Electronic holding with the M4. It's double up set up for the first time on the CT side for Navi. It's flaming and simple. I don't think we saw that in regulation at all, so let's see if it's enough to find them. Map point here.
Cold will back off. Probably the right time to do so. The airstrike coming over the top. Single nade wouldn't have taken him down, but damage nonetheless. He is on a rifle. He'll have the bomb as well transferred into his hands, and he'll take that all the way around. Flamey. He does hit him. Okay, I was going to say, because he spotted him through the edge of the smoke, spotted his arm sticking out from the wall, manages to actually clip him through said wall, but Fallen still alive, and I don't think Flamey will have the information that he actually landed that shot at all based on how we saw it on screen. He wouldn't have seen it much differently, aside from the fact that there's not a giant yellow outline on this target. The smoke bounced out for Bolts. He and Stewie want to be the ones to lead way. Electronic is actually going to smoke himself in the corner, presuming that they might throw a Molotov in that direction. Flamey stays alive, but not for long. Cold's got the shot. Look at them go, because Fur and Bolts had as well to bring this potentially back to a 17-17 score line. That nade bounced the wrong way. Poor Simple. That would have done massive damage in the fact that Bolts and Fallen are both within nade, or 1 nade of death. Now, that said, they weren't exactly on the site. One's inside of the pit, the other's back toward middle.
Nice execution there from SK. It's enough to tie things up at 17-17. Simple.
He's desperate.
We'll just fire off all the bullets here just to hope for any sort of damage inflicted. A lucky wallbang to come in. He knows a few of them are dinked up. But that's a great round by SK there. coldzera, Fur, and Bolts both. All 3 finding frags. Simple just sending a message out, I guess, at that point. Quick scope towards Fur. coldzera will take him down in response. And Edward, these frags are almost redundant. They mean absolutely nothing. So just padding stats for him. 17 for 20. Could use it, I suppose. Picks up the AWP. SK, strike first. And we'll get to 18. Here's the question, though. Fallen back on the AWP. 24 kills to his name. Remember, he only had 3 AWP kills at the end of the first half. Really getting into it now. Round number 5 of 6. Double overtime still available and maybe likely the way things are going. Edward over towards B with Flamey in that secondary AWP.
So AWP didn't see the double op as much for Navi. Cannon for Fallen as well. They'll start to work up. Once all already down, they'll clear out behind the sandbags. Pretty standard default at this point, so not much needs to be said. Other than that, there's not a contest from Navi over Banana. I honestly couldn't tell you what way I'm leaning in the result of this game.
SK impressed me with that previous round, but on the CT side, you have such an advantage. And when you have Simple, maybe even more so. He'll be looking down towards the bottom and middle, but Fallen's at the top. He is removed. Great pick by Simple. 5 versus 4. They'll finish up towards the A side of the map by the looks of things. Bolts lining up a flashbang. And Electronic up close and personal, coming up to the 30-second mark here. Mid-control not even gathered as of yet. Time runs down. Navi looking for map point first. Well, that's a deadly incendiary.
So well timed, completely segregated. Fur even wants to get on the pallet so that he's closer to the corner because they want to go. They want to go now. 15 seconds. That bought so much space. Bought so much space for a man you don't want to give any to. Ooh! Simple obliterates Fur. He burns him from the grave, but it's still Zeus who holds all the cards inside of the site. Bomb will not be planted, and it's going to be map point first for Navi.
Well, there we have it. Simple absolutely destroys them there. Gets that first pick. Puts the fear of God inside them. The incendiaries deploy towards quad. That buys some time as they reposition. He gets towards the graveyard and really doesn't miss much at all. I think one shot, then the quickscope came out. That was one of the final nails in the coffin there. And now it can only be double overtime for SK. Navi looking to close things out right here, right now. And that would steal the map pick away. Nades coming through, successful. Zeus does take damage for it.
Damage indeed, Flamey. Still holding off, looking through that from which he was named. As that slowly burns out. We'll try and bring this second op into play. No one facing yet. That was all too easy. Stopping in his crosshair, but he gets content and too complacent with that shot. Bringing out the nade, though, all he did is actually bait them into Edward, who seems up to the task. Cold will respond, but do they know? Absolutely no way. Zeus has this, surely. 2 in the sight, that's all you'd ever expect. And Zeus, he'll step out to find one. It's Cold-Zera versus 3, 100 HP. And Cold is absolutely capable, but he's going to have to be damn cold, ice cold, frozen all the way through. He'll find Zeus and keep his HP intact. So with 42 seconds, how clever can he get? Molotov doesn't do much on the fountain. Probably trying to just keep him away from planting it, but he had no anticipation and no intention of doing so.
Oh my goodness, this is so sick. Simple alive as well. Cold-Zera gets the bomb down. You know he's capable of winning these ones. 2 kills to his name so far. Surely he can't pull this one off map.
He has to consider behind him. He's not even looked yet. They're getting closer and closer. Missed shot! Missed shot! Oh my God! Cold-Zera! A cold day in hell! And we go more! Simple missed a back turn to his favor.
That's unbelievable. How has he pulled that one off? It was all over. They knew who he was, and somehow Simple doesn't pull the trigger correctly. And both of them get sprayed down there. We're going to double overtime.
He gambled 100% that they were going to come from CT. He didn't even consider checking for information. He went, I'm all in on the play, and somehow still wins it.
That's so sick. I don't know how he pulls it off, but Simple and Cold-Zera are locking horns on this server right now. I'm not sure that the communication breakdown there, as Electronic didn't seem to know what the hell was going on. He should have got the follow-up frag, but Cold-Zera takes them both down, and we do it all over again, Matt. 18-18. The orbs are out once again, double of which are on the Navi side. Oh my God. What a game this is turning out to be.
Simple burns alive, excuse me. It's Bolts that gets the kill. It was Simple. I thought we snapped away to a different observer perspective. He goes down, though. That's the AWP going as well. And Simple's going to hate to be sitting on the sidelines as we start yet again.
That's insane. Absolutely unbelievable scenes.
At this rate, we'll carry the broadcast to welcome you to tomorrow. Semi-final coming up after this game, Hank. Fallen takes out Flamey, 5 versus 3. Surely SK, on the back of that, has to close this. Absolutely ridiculous that Cold gets away with that. Edward, overwhelmed, gets Electronic on the board in taking away the aggro, but Bolts took him down all too easily. Electronic nearly steps out to find Fur. That would have denied the plant, but Bolts then turns around and realizes that he's there. It's a 4-on-1. So I imagine we go 19-18 for SK. New round limit that we look for is 22. 21-21, we start again.
There we go. A chance to calm down somewhat, but SK will carry the momentum over. 4-on-1 Zeus. It's almost impossible for him to win this, I'm afraid. He might be able to get a consolation frag here. Bolts will go down, but it won't really help him out too much. As far, we'll get the final frag there. Well done. SK towards that B bomb site. Once again, this time a lot more willing to give it over the side to them. Navi, only one player surviving. But round 2 will be coming in 19-18.
Unbelievable. And Simple missing that shot may have actually been tricked by the dead body, Henry. But it happened all so quickly that Cold, it's brilliant. Simple has to back away this time. They're already down around in this, the second overtime. Fur's gonna fall, or excuse me, wrap all the way around, fall all the way toward the Arch, if you will, stumbling forward, shall we say. Arch smoked off, but that's Zeus to get a kill against him and therefore be safe as a result of it. So Navi with a one-man advantage. Keep your eyes on this man. Keep your eyes dead on this man, because he's got another shot full, and Bolts, yeah, okay, they may get kills, but they're not the highlight reel at this point. Cold is stepping up, as Stu suggested to you he would. Edward and Flamey to try and retake the site.
That's so true. The fact I got told that yesterday, and he just pulls that one out the hat. My God. Well, Edward and Flamey will do their absolute utmost to bring this round in their favor. It's now just Edward who will be in the apartment, still possible with fallen low HP. Flashbang to come out. If it was the right click, I'd say you have a chance, but Stewie's got him dead to rights here. And that will be 2-0 now for SK on the T side. This could be a death sentence for Navi at this point. Oh, still, of course, have plenty of money. Doesn't really become a factor here. I guess you could buy double orbs over and over again, even on 16K. So he did shoot the dead body.
Yeah.
So there's the replay. Like you said, we weren't actually on his POV.
We snapped to it as the shot happened, so I didn't catch that right away, but someone tweeted it to me, and I thought it did look a little odd the way that Cole's body was stuck out, so it was actually the dead body. That's unbelievably bad luck.
Yeah,
that is
it really
such
is.
bad luck.
Wow,
that's like CSGO, not like a registration issue. That's like you just got CSGO'd straight up. Like the game just got you there.
Yeah, I think that's a cool part of the game, though. Like that can be a factor, you know? The corpses of your teammates can change everything. There's going to be aggressive play from Navi here, as Fur will get the first. A little bit confusing now as to what happened, but Flamey follows it up. 4 versus 3 now, as Navi take the lead. They desperately need this last round.
Shot out, fallen, can't land it, flashes off, Simple smoked. SK looking to sweep overtime. No one yet to do that out of these two teams in these 2 overtimes. They've got a man against them that they're not using themselves. In other words, they're down to what now is a 3 versus 2, though. They pulled it back because I was going to say the HP is in their favor even with this. Cold, Fallen, and Stu versus Electronic and Simple. Simple on 41 HP is trying desperately again to fire that op into the site. He'll get a little bit of support from Electronic late. Flash out immediately. Simple wants to go, but he's still wrapping in through Ruin, so that flash is too soon.
Oh, what?
What is that? How creative and how audacious in this round of all rounds. They pull it back. Electronic, they know where Cold is. He's going to step out, but Cold has had enough. It is 21 rounds for SK. What a shot from Simple.
Simple and coldzera are putting on such a masterclass at Counter-Strike right now. Unfortunately for Simple, coldzera's gone one step further time and time again. He's just hit 40 frags. And so has Simple. They're both at 40, and this is just unbelievable.
It's a grudge match.
Yeah, it really is. Oh my God. Well, it will be the 3-0. For SK, and presumably the map. Simple does not deserve to be on the losing team, though. What in God's name was that? Lines it up.
You call him Jesus, you call him God in this game, and he fires it from the altar. What a shot. It's coldzera, though. You just can't fool Cold at this point. He is so composed in these situations. Both those shots were crisp. A lot of players might have panicked in that situation. 21-18. 1 round for SK secures map 1.
What a game. This has been the game of the tournament, hands down.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it came alive late because it took a while to get here. There were some rounds that really went the distance.
Well, it's always highly built. coldzera versus Simple. It's rare to see them both firing at 100% though. Absolutely crazy. There we have it. 1 round will do it for SK on the CT side. You feel like at this point that's a lock-in. 3 rounds in a row for Navi. That just doesn't seem possible. Especially with coldzera in this sort of form, but they have got Simple, as I mentioned.
And we're already wrapping toward the site. Flash goes both ways because Bolts, although not fully blind, was caught by it. Couldn't peek as aggressively as he would have liked to. They're in the site. Edward spots him first. Here we go again. Double up. Good shot from Cold on the first one. Can't respond fast enough to find Edward. Bomb is down, but not planted yet. They're going to try and recover it, and they will. Zeus will pick it up, and not only that, they may not have to worry about that being the way in which they secure the round because it's Fallen versus 4. All right, Fallen, you're up. We've seen it all from Simple and Cold.
Yeah, what have you got? And it will be the AWP that strikes first. Zeus just giving them away for free. And we have got, I believe, Simple in CT spawn. If Edward goes down there, that could have been a little bit problematic, but well held, good shot by Edward. That's the first of 3. Still need 2 more. My God. What a game it's been.
There's so many plays you just don't make. You can't make sense of. Like, I pity the analysts coming up after this game. Because how do you analyze the way that Cold and Simple think at times?
Yeah, the thing is, you can analyze it all you like, but they've just got that extra. It's the je ne sais quoi, something you can't quite describe. Something about Counter-Strike, gut feelings and like plays that no one else will make, that they will do it time and time again. It's impossible for anyone to replicate.
Yeah, and not only that, you'll do a perfect play against them, and they've got so much skill they'll just shut it down.
Exactly.
So what are you supposed to say? Like, yeah, that was a great play, it failed. Like,
they are the enigmas of Counter-Strike. No one can play like that. You can watch all their demos. You can deathmatch for 24 hours a day, and you won't get to this peak these guys hit. They're very, very special. As Bolts, he'll find the first pick. He's struggling on that A side, but that's a nice start and could be the beginning of the end for Na'Vi here. 1 round that slips away in this half, and it's all over. We move on to Overpass, remember.
Yeah, that's right. Overpass is next.
This isn't even the halfway point, you know. This is still a long way to go.
In terms of total rounds, it might be the halfway point if we get enough of them achieved in overtime.
Sure.
1 round is all SK need. They've got the man advantage. It's Edward down Fur. Oh, Fur. He's pushed around behind it. Boiler, he's not there in time. They're going to get to the arch. They get Fallen down as well. They're going to open up the arch. Cold is still inside of Library. It's Stu that's the next to arrive with the AWP. He's got the information from Cold. Both ops have a kill.
That should be it now. 4 versus 2. Shui's been quiet this game, but he's loud here in round number 5. Electronic 4 versus 1, and he can't do anything about it. Stewie with the 180 to close it out. What an amazing map of Counter-Strike that was.
And that wasn't a cheer because it's over. That was a cheer because Stewie's 180 was pretty ridiculous as well. There's a number of kills that, from his perspective, would have looked spectacular, but it is SK that get the map. Took a while to get there. Forget everything at the start. The 6-round spread, the turnaround, 9-6 halftime. That's just insane Counter-Strike at the end.
I think everyone's forgotten the fact that it's 1 AM. Even both players or both teams will be thinking, this is worth it. This is something quite special. Definitely the map of the tournament so far. And we might just be warming up. We've got Cold Zera and Simple locking horns in this server right now. Both of them showing some of the best Counter-Strike that can possibly be played. That was unbelievable. We are treated as something special.
Just to note as well, credit to the fans here in the Ukraine, because even though it's 1 AM, it's still pretty packed house. Everyone's going outside now to get a breath, obviously.
It's warm in here, man. I'm getting a sweat on.
This is, like you say, it's late. The players, Fallen made a joking, excuse incoming. Sure. He was obviously being a little bit facetious about it, but having to play so late at night, look, they're going to be wide awake. They're fine with it. As you said, that game, whatever, it's on. Yeah,
this is so cool. This has been so fun to cast, Matt. But for now, you and I should take a break.
Yeah,
Let's get ourselves ready. We're going to be having to be on 100% ourselves for the next one. And we'll be back with the analysts just after this break. Don't go anywhere.
You can go 100%.
Bye.